भारत माता के पावन चरणों पे पुनश्च वंदन करके और प्रोफेसर राजेंद्र सिंह के स्मृति को श्रद्धेय अभिवादन करके मेरे वक्तव्य को प्रारंभ करता हूं। स्मृति न्यास के अध्यक्ष, व्यासपीठ पर बैठे हुए सभी सदस्य, रजू भैया के परिवार के सभी सदस्य आज जो यहाँ आए हैं, सभी उपस्थित बहनें और भाइयों, सबसे पहले तो मैं एक विनम्र अनुमति चाहता हूं। इस मंच के अध्यक्ष मेरे गुरु, मेरे मार्गदर्शक पद्मभूषण FC कोहली साहब, तो मैं चाहता हूं ये अनुमति कि मैं मेरा वक्तव्य अंग्रेजी में और हिंदी, हाँ बिल्कुल अनुमति है। प्रोफेसर मुरली मनोज जोशी, who has been my teacher, mentor, guide, friend, philosopher. It's such a joy for me today to deliver this lecture in the memory of a professor of physics, a great son of Mother India, and a national leader, Professor Rajendra Singh. When Tarun Vijay ji came and told me about this idea that we are going to institute Professor Rajendra Singh Memorial Lecture Series on the theme, the future of science and the future of Indian science, not future of science, the future of Indian science, I was very delighted in many ways, really. And he said that they would like to begin from a lecture from me. What a great honor for me, a person like me. And it will be delivered in front of the great people, thinkers of India, who have shown directions in many fields, in education, in science, in learning, teaching, in political science, in many fields. So for me it's a great honor, sir, to deliver this lecture. First, this lecture is very appropriate. On the 3rd of January, Indian Science Congress, it is customary for the Prime Minister to inaugurate. Professor Murli Manoj Joshi is there, and I think he has witnessed several such inaugurations of Science Congress, Indian Science Congress. And this time, of course, like last time and earlier, Professor Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, as the Prime Minister of India, addressed the Science Congress because I think the centenary, this time very special occasion. And a special feature of this centenary inauguration was announcement of a new science policy. The first science policy, if you remember, was announced in 1958. And that was the beginning of science, in the sense, India that was free. We declared, I think Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had also the vision that the development should be guided by the pursuit of science, should be founded on science and technology, amongst other things. And then we had gone through that science policy, and 10 years back, again, it was revised, 2003. And we had not only science policy, but we had science and technology policy. We talked about technology and science together. That was 10 years back, 2003. And this time, upon the insistence of many of us, several papers that were presented, and Dr. Mashalkar led that in many ways, that the policy should be announced not only of science and technology, but also innovation. Because innovation will be the greatest wealth creator of the 21st century, and it has been. There are several examples, and I will narrate some of the examples later. So we have science, technology, and innovation policy before us. And the objective of the policy is, of course, that we want accelerated development of India. We want faster development of India. But it should be sustainable development. It should be inclusive development. I think these are important words. On this occasion, when we talk of sustainability, sustainability is the ancient Indian concept, it's a Vedic concept, sustainability. The concept of dharma, I think if dharma has to be translated, it is sustainability in the context of development. We talked about that. Now we have to see, it is the agenda of several nations now, how can we have sustainable development? On this occasion, when we were discussing the subject, and I was at that time thinking of this issue of extreme computing. When Tarun Vijay came to me and we were discussing in Delhi and Pune, I said, I would like to speak on extreme computing. And I said that, can that be a game changer? I'm going to speak something on a game changer for India's science and technology. And we'll see what is the game changer. This is a paradigm shift. Can it create a new paradigm shift in science for India? Important paradigm shift. And I'm going to speak on extreme computing. And I'm aware that when I speak on extreme computing, and when it is inclusive development, it must be also ubiquitous computing. It must cover everything, it must cover the 122 crore population of India, not only just supercomputers which are somewhere in ivory towers, but also must span, touch the lives of everybody. So extreme computing, from ubiquitous computing, like ubiquitous computing would mean a mobile in your pocket. A mobile in your pocket, that is a computer in your pocket. And it must touch the lives of, and we must create national information infrastructure. We must create national knowledge infrastructure. We must create national knowledge network. And we are talking India as a nation of intelligent knowledge infrastructure. And when we create that in next 10 years, the most pervasive knowledge infrastructure of the country, can it be a game changer for India's science, technology, and India's development? That is the subject. My thesis is that, which is to be proven, is a hypothesis, not a thesis, that the computing power of a nation is directly related to its national wealth. You can compute it GDP or GNP or whatever it is directly related to national economic power as well. And we'll see how it is and which nations are leading. In this context, we need to understand the words like extreme computing. And you see some word here before that. Extreme computing today means exascale computing, what we are forcible trying to reach in the next 10 years. And when you see these words, exascale, We don't know. I think we don't understand. Today's supercomputers are petascale. They perform petascale mathematical operations per second. And what is this petascale? I think I need to explain that, and just this slide will show something, if it is clear to all of us. We understand million. We understand, of course, thousand. And thousand is 1 million. And 1,000 million is billion. And 1,000 billion is 1 trillion. And 1,000 trillion is something like 1 peta. 1 peta, you see, there, 10 to the power 12. And 1,000 peta is 1 exa. And 1,000 exa is 1 zeta. And 1,000 zeta is 1 iota. These are the new words in English dictionary. And we are not familiar with it. Today, we are talking about petascale supercomputers. IIT Director Dr. Raghunath Shivagar is before me, and we have been insisting that we should build such petascale supercomputers, or IITs must be equipped with petascale supercomputers. Why? Because supercomputing today means, by definition, some people say, what is supercomputer? Often I ask the common people, they say, what is supercomputer? Supercomputer is computers with supreme computing power. In that sense, today, if you have to compare, in a relative sense, if the laptop can perform the gigascale mathematical operations per second, then a supercomputer will perform at least 100 terascale mathematical operations per second. That is the difference. 100,000, 1 lakh times. If you connect 1 lakh laptops together, that's why I'm saying this is because this is a very important feature. Today, the laptop which you carry, many of you carry in your bags, you are with you, or your iPads, the computing power of that iPad is equivalent to the first supercomputer that was developed in India in 1990. That is, we developed first time the gigascale supercomputers, which was equivalent to Cray YMP at that time, the supercomputers which United States had. We are talking about increasing the computer by the order of not just 1,000 times, not just 1 million times, but 1 billion times of that supercomputer. A billion mathematical operations per second. Because why do we require such supercomputers? We will see that, why do we require this? And how we are to create that kind of infrastructure, and how it can be game changers. When we speak of a game changer for Indian science and technology, what is a game changer? And we can say that, so I think cricket has been a game changer for India. Before that, I wanted to say one thing, that when we talk of Indian science, or the great tribute were paid to Indian contribution to science. These large numbers, as we talk about, I said about peta, and we are talking about exa and zeta. Indians had known these large numbers for a long time. This is remarkable. Carl Sagan, the great astrophysicist and cosmologist, has paid great tribute to India. It is only Indian civilization which thought of such large numbers. We talk about Dasha, and we talk of Sahasra, and Dasha Shastra, and Laksha, and Dasha Laksha, and Koti, and Dasha Koti, and when we go on to this one, I think one Abja. And I put some, I think the slide has been changed. We see the previous slides. We have been able to count, not just 10 to the power 15. You see the numbers, I think they have been actually named. You see that, Abja, 1 trillion is Shanku, Peta is Parartha, then Mahashanku, and then we go on. We have names for 10 to the power 22, Vrunda, Padma, Tharva, and go to 10 to the power 52, 10 to the power 54. In fact, there is a reference in Buddhist literature. Sir, there is a reference in Buddhist literature to name numbers like 10 to the power 121, 122, and beyond that. So much so that we are talking about, I think there is a reference, I have a reference here, that particular text, but I don't want to go into that. We are talking about numbers which never were imagined. There are 10 to the power 80 atoms in the universe. The entire universe has a cognizable universe. And we talk numbers beyond 10 to the power 80. This is we must pay tribute to Indian civilization, sir. As you said, this one, that we talked about those numbers. Not only numbers, in the time scales. We have the concept of Yuga and Mahayuga and we Manvantaras and several Manvantaras and the day of Brahma, and then we go on beyond that, the Pralaya. No one thought, even today's science has not thought of these time scales. On the spatial scale, suppose the space scale also we have talked about that. Anadi Ananta, the concept which has been think that universe is both Anadi and Ananta simultaneously. These concepts were imagined, which is now I think what we are coming to. So I think in that context I will talk about other great contributions to mathematics. Of course, there are great contributions which can be, we can go on and on, great contribution to mathematics and language and Panini grammar. We talked about Sanskrit and other things. It is in this context, I think these numbers, I just want to say that we could name 10 to the power 108, 10 to the power 152 and beyond that. Numbers actually, you can count, and they are listed like this. So this is a great tribute to, and we are trying to now construct computers of that kind. Why do we require computers of this? I was wondering. The question is that when you speak of supercomputers, people think, oh, supercomputers are somewhere to be put in the ivory towers, in the national laboratories, and this infrastructure. What does it mean to me? What does that infrastructure mean to me? And I was just thinking as I was traveling from Pune to Delhi, and I was wondering, I was trying, of course, Airbus in Air India, and I was wondering that how this Airbus would have been designed. Is it possible to design that Airbus without access to supercomputers? Without access to the computational fluid dynamics? The entire wing designs. And as there was a turbulence, and there was a huge turbulence, and everybody was shaken. And how the aircrafts, modern aircrafts are made turbulence worthy, and how do we face them, how they are designed, how the wing design is done, how the simulation is done. It is not possible. It's not possible to design those turbines which come from General Electric and other things. It is not. It is, of course, not possible. If India has to design tomorrow's aircrafts, and we have planned for, I think you had begun that issue of passenger aircraft at NAL. If you have designed light combat aircrafts, we have done future aircrafts, I think we have ideas of that kind. It is not possible without having that. And then, of course, I descended, and we have this great now Terminal 5 and Terminal 3, and then we come out and sit in the car. Is it possible to design modern cars without their crashworthiness? It is not possible. Crashworthiness is tested on through simulation in supercomputers. The combustion engines, you can improve the efficiency by 0.5%, 1%. It means for the national economy, it would mean tens of thousands of crores. The combustion engine, so I'm driving that and I see that this is not possible. Tomorrow, if Tatas have to compete or Mahindras have to compete, or this kind of thing, design modern cars, and I have no reason we cannot do that today when with Jaguar and Land Rovers, I think being done. Actually, we are improving those designs right in the UK and selling it back to United States, I think the British people, and also using in India. It is not possible to design without supercomputers. Then I come to the room, and you go to the room and you see that you watch a television, and these televisions are possible because of the transponders, which are satellites. The satellites, it is not possible to launch those satellites without actually doing the supercomputing simulation on that kind of things. Not possible at all. If you look at the laptops and iPads and your mobiles, the chips there, the circuit simulation has to be first done, which are billions of transistors on that chip. It is not possible to do the circuit simulation. Those chips is not possible to, of course, manufacturing can be done somewhere else, but this is what I'm trying to, it touches every part of our life today model. And it is because of this reason, the United States, when they developed the first supercomputer, the Cray was really the father of supercomputer. And then they said that now we want to advance this technology. Only United States possesses this technology at that time. I remember in the early, this was in the mid-80s, supercomputing technology only was with, and Japan was trying to copy, trying to re-engineer the whole thing. And only 2 countries had some way supercomputers. And United States people observed that the United States has to retain the competitivity. It is one technology which was identified as strategic technology, that supercomputing, which no other country has got and no other country can reach, because they don't have chips, they don't have exotic cooling systems, they don't have applications, they don't have softwares, and no country can do that. And the congressional decision was taken that this technology will be protected. This can be, of course, can be dualist technologies. This will be protected, will not be given to any country except NATO countries, perhaps. Japan may, of course, was trying to copy that some way or other, reverse engineer, whatever they were trying to do. This is the importance of that, because the nation cannot progress in terms of technologically compete without the age in supercomputing. And it was denied to us. Naturally, it is, I think, Sir was, I think you remember that kind of thing, it was denied to us, that we wanted it for weather forecasting, National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting in Delhi, Noida now. We wanted that, we said that this is very critical for us, India's agrarian economy, and we want supercomputer, we must have simulation, we should be able to predict the rains for our farmers, and we have the models, and there are models, of course, the European models at that time, and we were trying to understand, modify those models for India and run on the supercomputer. It was denied to us. It was said that no, supercomputer will not be given to us. In fact, Rajiv Gandhi, Ronald Reagan, the meeting that took place, the accord, the high technology accord took place, that we might give it to you, the old model of XMP, but if it is used for any other application than weather forecasting or climate modeling, we will see to it that the Secretary of State had said that even PIN will not be allowed to come into India. Forget anything, because it's a dualist technology. It is at that time the challenge was created, that I think I'm just giving the history. It was by 87, 88 time the challenge was created that why can't we do it? Why can't we do it within India? This was a challenge which Rajiv Gandhi put across the scientists, and having worked with him on some other projects earlier, this was a thing, and Sam Pitoda was there, and Mr. Nambiar was there. I remember all these people. Mr. K.R. Narayan was the Minister of Science and Technology, and we said that, okay, I see now when I was asked the question, because I was called for this, I was asked the question, I said, I have not seen a supercomputer myself. Physically, you're not allowed to see. I've seen the picture. There was no internet. I was just a research journal. But if you ask me the question, I think taking inspiration from Dr. Bhava or Dr. Sarabhai, I will say from inner inspiration, or from I think the confidence which I feel looking at their works, that we can do it. I said that 3 questions were asked. I cannot explain to you. I can give you the blueprint, but I cannot explain to you that can we do it. I said I can take only from my confidence, taking inspiration from these great people. He asked me 3 questions. In fact, I made that meeting, I remember. Can we do it? I said I have not seen, but we can do it. I can just say it, because Prime Minister, you cannot talk if and but and however and nevertheless and all that question, all that answers. I said we can do it. And he said how much time it will take. And I had done one calculation when some with the engineers, the team. I said it can be done. See, we have wasted 3 years, 85 years struggling to get this supercomputer. And 88, now it's 87, 88. I said it can be done in the same time we can develop this technology. I feel so, using the new paradigm of parallel processing. And the third was, what is the cost? What cost it can be done? Rajiv Gandhi asked me softly that question to me. What is the budget? What would be required? I said cost of the Cray system, which we are trying to get it from Cray Incorporated at that time, and it would cost us for installation, everything, 35 crores. That is the cost. That cost, we can develop the entire technology using, of course, the paradigm shift of parallel processing. And the project was approved, and we began. And we started doing this one, and then, of course, we created the first supercomputer. I will tell you one story here. That's how Indian science lags, not because of anything else. It is because of the governance of science. I think deficit of governance of science, sometimes we lag, because I remember when the mission was fulfilled, 1991, it was delivered as planned. And then when we created that first frame of the supercomputer, I remember I showed it to my professors and some experts. I said, this is a supercomputer. It doesn't look like Cray. I said, it's not. It doesn't look like Cray, and it can't be like that. That time I knew that we will never accept that as a supercomputer unless it is taken out of the country. It is taken to Europe. It is taken to the US. And unless the US scientists or the computer experts say that this is a supercomputer, Indians will not believe that. And I precisely attempted to do that. And there was a great thing. And I said there was Europe, Zurich, there was a convention where all supercomputers were being brought and being benchmarked. It was Zurich conference, the Eurocon. And we decided to take it out. I know this is a long story, but I should not do that long story. How difficult it was to take out of the airport. Mumbai airport, I was stopped at Mumbai airport with all the permissions which I had, but still I was stopped at what are you taking out? And there was no time. We took it as a personal baggage. I'm telling you, it was disassembled supercomputer. It was taken in parts, and we carried it and reached in Zurich at 2 o'clock in the, I think, early morning. And next day was the exhibition, and we attempted to put it together. And it was benchmarked in the ETA, where Einstein worked, really. It was benchmarked there. To cut the story short, at 11 o'clock it was benchmarked, and we came second to US in the benchmarking, in the impact benchmarking. So this is, but we had lost confidence. what I think we had lost. The story doesn't end there. We came there and we had this one, we had exported to Russia and we had done this one, what was told, we took it to Russia, the Russian Academy of Sciences. That was the greatest honor. I think the great academicians whom I worship virtually in mathematics, in physics, who were there present and were running their models. And then they greeted me. I said, life is fulfilled in that certain sense, because I was really reading their textbooks and drawn a lot of inspiration from it, many of the guys there. But when we came back, I had a hard story. Right, Rajiv Gandhi ji was assassinated, you know that whole story, and then there was there was a visit of a secretary, who was the newly appointed secretary, who came to Pune and I came to welcome me. He said, now I went to garland him, I said just flowers to him at the airport. He said, Dr. Bhatkar, I have bad news for you. I have very bad news for you, that I have come here to close CDAC. I said, my God, I was shocked, because now we are trying to grade, and I said, what is the next mission we are defining? He said, your mission was approved for 3 years, and it was the mission is fulfilled. Now you close it. I said, can you close science like that? And he would say that, no, you can't discuss with me. I've just come to close this. The financial advisor and all that, I tried to persuade him to show what we are doing. I said, at least visit my lab. I pleaded him, and he came along with me, and I showed him the works, and people were speaking of passion. People had not taken leave. People are sleeping in the lab. They're working on that kind of thing. They were explaining their work, what they have done, but including the Indian languages. Fortunately, the Indian language thing appealed to him. The way we are trying to bring all Indian languages on computers appealed to him. He said that, I think we should not close CDAC. We should not close this. He was moved by the passion of the people, and then he went back. But almost it was decided to close the mission, because mission is accomplished. I said, it's not like a tap, you start water and then again close it and again stop. So research cannot be done like that. Anyway, these are the stories of Indian science all along this one. Not science does not lag because of I think our capabilities, because of what we are doing. It is that I think we have not yet learned how to govern the constantly changing the frontiers of science in everything. In space program we have done it well. In atomic energy also we have done it very well. In certain sense, others we are learning, but we are not still coming to grapple with this whole thing of that in the today's environment, where every second new innovations occur, new inventions occur, how to manage that science. I think one of the things which I want to bring before you. Now, the frontier before is that in 2008 was a great year for Indian science, because in the top 500 supercomputers, I think India first time has 8 supercomputers, and India had ranked 4th. Not because India could rank first, but we didn't have money. We didn't have funding of that level. It was, I think, Tata Consultancy Services, CRL had started, Computing Research Laboratory had started, and they also came in the field, and they were funded well. In the meantime, CDAC funding stopped. It was checkered funding. It will come, it will not come, we will not know what to do. We could not plan the missions properly. And that's how we were lagging behind. In the meantime, China had taken a big time to take. 2008, we were leading China. China started later than India. We were behind India for several years. But 2010, I think 2010 said they have taken that we must do something much better than India. And not only much better than that, we must compete with the US. That decision was taken at highest level. And then they started the mission, provided $2 billion, 6,000 crores, as against even 60 crores or 600 crores we are struggling for across the country. And then China made a big leap in 2010. 2010, China built a supercomputer called Tianhe 1A, and that ranked in top 500, number 1, exceeding the US. And that shook the whole world. And I said, where are we? And I was not in the government, I was not in CDAC, and Mr. C.K. Prahlad had just come from China, and we were discussing with him what should be done. Then I wrote a paper that we must now once again run the race, because we cannot stop. The race is going on, it's a marathon. It's going on, you cannot stop anywhere. And then a proposal was made that India should develop exascale supercomputers. These exascale supercomputers, what we are talking about. Today's supercomputers are petascale supercomputers, 1,000 times that. And this should be done in next 10 years. And that is the frontier every country has put. When the United States said, that is the next frontier which I have put. And everybody knew that this cannot be accomplished. This cannot be accomplished with current technology, not because of anything else, because now a new factory is coming, not because of hardware, not because of software, in the certain sense, not because of your budgets, because of power. Power, because a petascale supercomputer at that time, when we were discussing 2010, will take 20 megawatt. close to, today it takes 10 megawatt, even less than that, depends on the configurations, sustainable configurations, even 1 megawatt, but it was in 20 megawatt. And you have to build a supercomputer with that technology will take 20,000 megawatt. 20,000 megawatt, you will have several 20 super power stations to fund that. And running that, the power budget will be more than several times the cost of the computer itself. So that is not sustainable. And the goal was put that it should not be 20,000 megawatt, it should be 20 megawatt. Then only it's sustainable. So now the greatest frontier is creating these exascale supercomputers, but the power budget will be, the power will be at the power cost of 20 megawatt maximum, and which can be built, of course, which power supplies can be put across. 20 megawatt. This cannot be done with current technologies at all. Everything has to be rediscovered. The chips have to be remade. Chips have to be remade. The architecture has to change. It will have, I think, it will have billions of cores, multi-core architecture, 3D stacking of the memories. What kind of networks we are talking about? Integrated optics networks, storage systems of different kind, everything different. This is a great architectural challenge. And I say that, size. Of course, size, it cannot be more than this hall. It cannot be the size. We'll see, I'll show you some of the supercomputers of that kind, which we are. This is the Param journey, as you see. I think it's not very clear here, that as we went on to, I think, petascale systems now. But this is the thing we are. This is an opportunity for India once we build exascale. And fortunately, this paper was approved by Scientific Advisory Committee, chaired by Professor C.N.R. Rao. And then not this Science Congress, the Prime Minister announces that we will provide a budget of 5,000 crores. First time we are making a provision of that scale, 5,000, almost close to $1 billion to develop this exascale supercomputers, which will go on to the 12th, not only 12th plan, the 13th plan, another 6,000 crores, 11,000 crores, we will try to create a supercomputer exascale. And can India bid this game? If 11,000 crores are provided, the budget is one, but this is not only budget. This has to be the strategy is that this computing power should be accessible to everyone through the National Knowledge Network. We have a National Knowledge Network with the initiative of Sam Pitoda and Professor Chidambaram. We are creating 1,500 institutions. We have a great plan. If it is the NKN, this will be accessible to every college. It should be accessible to Allahabad. It should be accessible to IITs. It should be able to all engineering colleges. And anybody has a great idea, I think we should be able to use that computing power for doing that. This is the now India science making in the third mode of paradigm of discovery. First is, of course, experimentation. The theory and experimentation we are talking about. The third mode is the simulation mode, what we are talking about. You simulate things, like you simulate the entire aircraft, you simulate the entire car, you simulate the entire human body, you try to simulate the brain and then work on that, because otherwise it is not feasible. You just, can you take some more slides ahead? Who's controlling?
Who is controlling this?
Next. This slide shows us that the computing power has been scaling 1,000 times every decade. So we developed gigascales in say 88, 90, then 2000 it is terascale. And then next, 2008, 2010, it goes to petascale. And next 10 years it is going to be exascale. This is the way the computing power in the chips have been scaling using the Moore's law. This is, I think, the corollary of Moore's law. The computing power has been really increasing by a factor of 1,000 every decade, and that's where the race has to be run. So next please. These are, I think, the world's top supercomputers today. The China built this. I think this is the US one, the Titan one. This is the topmost supercomputer, closing to 20 petaflops, 17.5 petaflops. And they look like this. India has not yet built this. We are trying to reach 1 petaflop. There are other supercomputers of that kind. These are the kind of things which we are trying to build. And this will be a national knowledge network, which we are talking about, which has got bandwidth to provide 2.5 gigabit to 10 gigabit network, which we are trying to create, and then scale from 40 to 100 gigabit network and give connectivity to our all institutions, 1,500 institutions to begin with, and all institutions to begin. This will be accessible to everybody. And idea is also this to be accessible on iPads, on laptops. So anybody gets an idea, anybody, those models are there, and you can work on and create new innovations. This is going to unleash series of innovations, which now we can create fundamentally. Of course, we have done software. I think I will speak of software, what magic we have done with Professor Kohli being here. The magic what he has done. that today starting from nothing, we could create industry of TCS is today starting from nothing. I have seen almost like struggling with few crores to today $10 billion in industry across 43 countries. We could create that. Today, how we did the IT magic? We want to do through this scientific computing, not scientific, computing power, that magic for science and innovation. Because here, I think India is the only country with, I think, chain of laboratories or youngsters coming from engineering colleges, scientific laboratories or universities, and new IITs we are creating, the IITs, current IITs, ISC, TIFR, BRC, all these institutions put together. India is the only country which can sustain that computing, that kind of manpower. Because it is not the issue of technology. Can you sustain that kind of manpower for years together? And we can do that. I think that is the thing. And then the new innovations which will come, which were never seen before. It was the Richard Feynman one day observed that he said that there is enough room at the bottom. What he meant was that, what he said, I think what is the meaning of that was one day I think somebody interpreted that I can put the entire information created by humanity from its very beginning when we discovered the language, and we started later on the printing press and everything what was created, including the new media, the media which was coming in, the tapes and everything on the pinhead. I can put all that information in, all the libraries of the world, all the books ever published, written, manuscripts, I can put in that. There is so much room there. And today we are seeing that kind of thing. The memories have come to that kind of thing as a nanoscale. You can't wonder this. You just think that kind of thing. That today we are talking about about 5 zettabytes of memory. I think you will be carrying, you are able to put, and today we are creating storage systems for that. These computers will have that. The entire access to all the information created, all the and there's digitization now what we create on your this one, and this can be accessed from your this one. But I think the issues are many. There are many challenges there in what we are trying. This is going to create new innovations in memories, in processors, in the circuits we design, in the networks. What we are seeing is nothing. What we are seeing is only the tip of the iceberg. We are not created innovations in IT space. We have done great services. We have done great in services. We have beaten the world. I think that today the great India is the capital of that IT. I think the magic which we have done. Today this industry is $100 billion. If you add telecom of 60 to $80 billion, it's close to $200 billion industry we created from nothing. When I started, I remember it was 200 crores. Today is 10 lakh crores, 10% of the economy. 20 years. See that, how we have done it. Now, we also have to challenge ourselves in science and technology. Can we do those innovations, which we see only in the United States, in Europe, in Japan, and sometimes in now China and Korea? Can we create this series of innovations? Can we create new Nobel laureates of tomorrow, thinking totally differently? And this will require entirely different mindsets. This will have to revisit entirely Indian science, in mathematics, in algorithms, in softwares, creating new models, and in the challenges which you have got for Indian languages, the diversity of our languages. There are many challenges of this kind in hardware, software, networks, storages, services, which are accessible on every scale. The question will come, how does it impact to common man, to everybody? Common man, I'm saying, what does it mean to me? What does it mean to Indian farmer? For Indian farmer, the greatest challenge has been the rains, prediction of rains. We are not even able to succeed. We are running several models, but we have not been successful. We have not been able to successful in modeling the monsoon correctly. We are doing it. Can you do 1 kilometer resolution? It is a 23 kilometer resolution, what we are doing. Can we do that? And it makes a huge difference to that. Not only that, there is another challenge which China is taking or other countries are taking, that, okay, we can do weather prediction, but can you modify the weather? And somebody has remarked these clouds which are moving in the sky, they are like rivers. Can I tap the cloud as they are moving? Of course, we have to cloud seeding and other things, but there are many advances that will take place. Can I seed the cloud wherever it's required? Wherever I can do that. And these kind of things require that kind of simulation. You have a linking of rivers. What will happen is if it impacts. This requires simulation at that scale. This requires everything, new cars, new aircrafts, new missiles, as we see that what you protect your borders, the terrorism, this will require new technologies, require this kind of thing. And medicines, nanoscale medicines, the drug discoveries, I can go on and on kind of thing. Not only that, the entire information, we are talking Right to Information Act, the entire government files all these kids in many languages with handwritten notes. We should be able to recognize those things. I should be able to get the information when I ask a question directly on that. That requires, we require multilingual search engines. We require video search engines.
It will eliminate the parliament's question hour.
So there are many challenges. For example, simple challenges of multilingual thing. We are not been able to create, can we create a multilingual search engine for Indian information? As we said, over all the manuscripts which are available, can we put all the manuscripts? And can I just make a question in the natural language? In natural language, like Siri, on the iPhone, I ask a question in Hindi, and I should get answer in Hindi or English, whatever language you want. These are the challenges which require this kind of access to infrastructure, and of course, putting the knowledge, just not that, putting the knowledge and putting people behind it. Today, putting people behind is India's greatest age, which we are going to create, friends. Now, lastly, I would like to say that the whole process is, it can be a paradigm shift for India's science. When was the last paradigm shift? I said, we created 1967, sir, TCS? 68? 68 TCS. This is the paradigm, world's largest company. This company employs more Britishers than I think what we said that today. I was asked a question in the Royal Society lecture, how India did the magic. I said, you made that magic. You impose English on us. You impose English on us. We mastered it, and we are teaching English to Indian schools now from here. So this is, India is going to do this is what we can do. But I think we have many things we can talk about. India's dreams is today the third largest economy. India is the third largest economy. You're talking $1.8 trillion economy, which is PPP terms would mean the third largest economy. But the game doesn't end here. It is now admitted by National Intelligence Report of the United States, which is an intelligence report of several agencies put together, that by 2030 or 2035, India will overtake China, and India will overtake the United States. This is not our, we don't believe it. We are not getting prepared for it. We don't ourselves believe it. Even if they are telling us, we lost that confidence still, I think. But we are third largest economy. India was poor nation when we were really, I don't know what number, what was a very poor nation. We used to import food, grains, what problems we had. Today from there we have come to third largest. This next run is not long. I think we have to, and this is admitted because of young power which you got, intellectual power, young power. I think there are many other issues all associated with it, but if they can be tapped, young scientists can be created. This is the future of science. This is the future of India. This is the future of India. This is the future of Indian science. And we need to see that vision. We need to see that vision and create this one. This was, finally, I would say that I remember on this occasion, the game changer for India was Swami Vivekananda's lecture in Chicago lecture in, we see, 1893. The lecture, which a 4-minute lecture, Chicago lecture. That lecture, the entire view, 4-minute lecture, 20th, he came, 20th speaker, and my sisters and brothers, and what he spoke about religion and philosophy and then science later on, of course, but in that lecture, it was a game changer for how the world looked at India. There have been many game changers like that. We have to create a game changer for India that we will lead in science, not just we follow. We will lead by fundamental breakthroughs, and for which computing infrastructure, for which the fundamental sciences infrastructure, projects like Inspire, for which innovations are going to be extremely critical. Creating those cultures, creating those mindsets are extremely important. While doing that, lastly, I would say that it was a dream of some people that I think it was articulated also by Dr. Murli Manoj Joshi, that, and it was his project also, as we brought Indian languages on computers. We brought all the Indian languages, all 22 languages on computers with 10 different scripts, and there are many other challenges before that. While doing so, we began to work on Sanskrit, and we said that there was an issue. Why Sanskrit cannot be a language? Because there is the challenge of computing is that why I can't speak to computers in natural language, like English, like Marathi, like Hindi, or like any language like that, and I should get an answer like that. Why I have to go to the computer, learning computers and learning computer languages? That is the frontier for computing. That was the FGCS, 5th generation computer project of.
Sanskrit can be expressed in terms of binaries.
So Sanskrit language, then we started studying. I said, let's study natural language like Sanskrit, because most unambiguous language, the language which has been modeled mathematically by Panini in Ashtadhyayi. Can that be decoded? Can that be modeled rather? Can a language be modeled? It was, I think, the great tribute has been paid to by Noam Chomsky and many linguists that Panini created language of languages. Can we create a mathematical language of language? And we began that whole process. But I think, alas, we fell short of the work. We require Sanskrit Pandits who know computers. We require the great youngsters, we know Sanskrit deeply. And this has to be done over a 10-year period. The day Sanskrit becomes a language of computers, friends, as we saw people learning Java and people learning C and C++ on streets, the whole world will learn Sanskrit. And that is, I think, we have come full circle. That is the game of that. That requires the computing power of that. That requires computing power at that scale, which is accessible as a service. I just speak and I get the answers for this. There are many challenges, friends, of this kind of thing. It can be a game changer for Indian science. And no more falling, no more just falling. We need to solve, no more just publishing the papers. We need to solve problems of the society, problems of what we are. I think the people say we are not make the impact of science one side and make breakthroughs for the whole entire humanity. Because, and I would say finally, that Swami Vivekananda had a dream. And when he said 1897, when he came back from the US and he was lecturing around, he was moving around, he said, Swamiji, you don't speak of India's freedom. Many people are talking about freedom of India. He said India is not yet ready. Perhaps I think he said, I make a prophecy, I see that 50 years hence, India will get independence. And this is recorded in some of the things, is unknown Vivekananda. And we got freedom in 1947. But I tell you that 100 years hence, she will reclaim her glory, she will cross prosperity, which she has never seen before in entire history. I think we have to fulfill that. We have to fulfill that. And India's destiny is knowledge. Friends, India's destiny is not following US, not Europe, not Japan. India's destiny is knowledge, ultimate knowledge. I'm not bringing spirituality in this whole process, but I think India's destiny is knowledge. We are moving in that path, and we are such a treasure of knowledge, that kind of thing. That we have to bring that integrated knowledge system. So we are here to fulfill that dream. And our name, Bharat, also comes from that thing. Bham is knowledge, and Ratam is the society, the nation which is engaged in the pursuit of knowledge. I think we will follow that, and we will be at the 2047 and the coming decades, India will be the greatest nation of the world. Not just superpower. I would like to see India as a Jagat Guru, really a Jagat Guru of the nation, which she was all along, which was there until the 11th century. So this is from scientific tribute, scientific foundations laying for this country. There are many things which I could not say on this occasion, but I think I'm already too long. Raju Bhaiya said that 20 minutes. 20 minutes. So I said that, but this is the challenge of IITs, ISCs, and all of us to create that in a sustained way to create that magic which I think Swami Vivekananda made a prophecy of. And we have to fulfill that dream. Thank you very much thank you anyway for inviting me for this.